Hello, hello, and hello. It is that time again. It is time for me to go live. And what I am going to do, first of all, if you missed the live, please hashtag replay because that lets me know that you watched it. I am excited to be before you. I am for a number of reasons. First of all, I quit my job, wrote a book, but now it's time to pivot. It is time to pivot. I am in the pivot mode right now. And for those of you who don't know, this is your first time tuning in, I am Keishan, your human resource. I help people see the possibilities in what they think is impossible. I am disrupting HR, disrupting leadership, and disrupting you today as we continue to talk about the pivot. It's time to pivot. What is pivot? And you know what? Real quick, I am going to get a definition, not one that I made up, but get a real definition of pivot. So what is pivot? How do you define pivot? Pivot is defined as a central point, pin, or shaft on which a mechanism turns or oscillates. That is the noun version. So the verb version, which is what I'm talking about in action, pivot means to turn on or as if on a pivot. So that would be a rotation, or rotate, turn, resolve, spin, swivel, twirl, whirl, wheel. It means completely change the way in which one does something. Changing the way in which somebody does something. So that is the definition of pivot. So as we talk about pivot, we are in this pivot mode. I want to share this with you. So last week I was reading this quote and I wrote it down because I wanted to talk about it today. And this is the quote. It says, "Your actions speak so loud, I can't hear what you're saying." Your actions speak so loud that I can't hear what you're saying. Your actions speak so loud that I can't hear what you're saying. When I first heard this, I'm like, my actions speak so loud that you can't hear what I'm saying? And then I got the revelation. I was like, oh, for those of you who know me, sometimes my processing is a little bit delayed, but I got it. So the other quote that came to me was the quote by Maya Angelou: "When people show you who they are, believe them." So as we go through life, occasionally we have to pivot. I was in a meeting today. I was in a couple of meetings today. Hence, I'm wearing my AARP. I did a presentation for AARP today. I do presentations for them on a regular basis. I've actually spoken to hundreds of people regarding AARP's Fraud Prevention Network. And it's very rewarding. Today I met with a senior group in Forest Hills. And I've spoken to quite a few groups. I would really like to share this with more people of color so that, and this is not why I was coming on here, it was not at all talking about this, because when you don't know, you fall prey and victim to scams. And real quickly, then I'll jump back into it. I realized in this space that fraud, scams, it's an industry where people are literally scammed, frauded out of their money, primarily their identity. That's just flat out theft. But without going into too much more about what fraud is, so I did a fraud presentation today with AARP, and there were about 80 people in the room, and they're all seniors, and none of them look like me. And most of the presentations that I do about fraud prevention, what that looks like, nobody looks like me. And I'm volunteering doing this. I really would like for more people to be aware of what it looks like and how to be in a position so that it doesn't happen to you, or at least you can put some measures in place to prevent fraud. So back to what I was talking about pivoting. And so that was a perfect example of a pivot. I was in the middle of something. I went in a different direction. Now I'm back. I'm pivoting back to what I was talking about. So we're talking about the quote, "Your actions speak so loud that I can't hear what you're saying." So it's saying a lot without saying a lot. That is what pivot is all about, because people will tell you one thing and then their actions will show you something completely different. And when those situations arise, that leads us to a fork in the road. We're like, okay, this is different from what you said. So how should I respond? You're at a point, you're at a pivotal point, pun intended, where you have to make a decision. And the decision is at that fork in the road, and it's awaiting your decision. It's awaiting for you to make a move. The fork in the road, when somebody says something and something different happens, when they really show you who they are. So what do you do? Now, the situation happened to me, and all along, there was just something on the inside that was like, Keishan, yeah, you might want to not even go down that road. But I did, and I continued to move forward because I felt passionate about what I was working on. But when you have a gut feeling about something, that's your internal warning. Consider it an internal warning saying don't do it. That's your alarm clock, your internal alarm clock. And God may increase our discernment for such a time. If you are engaging in business deals with people, you are even interviewing for positions, or thinking that you want to pursue something when in actuality it really ain't for you. But my words of advice is, if it's something on the inside and you can't quite explain it, that is your internal alarm clock, but don't fight it and don't doubt it. Your intuition, when you have that gut feeling, that discernment, it's a warning. That is God speaking, telling you without physically coming and whispering in your ear, and without actually shaking you up and saying, don't do it, don't do it. If you have a gut feeling that just won't go away, if you can't shake something, that is when it's time to pivot. That fork in the road will make a decision and go right instead of left. Because if you go right, then all is well. You can release some things. You don't have to worry about it. But if you stay, hey, cousin. My cousin Ina is on. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm talking about the pivot. When you have an internal gut feeling, discernment telling you not to do something, not to pursue, continue going down that road, but you do it. Go the other direction. So that is your point, your fork in the road, when that gut feeling, that discernment, that internal alarm clock that God is giving you is time to pivot. You don't have to stay there. You don't have to sit in that. Yeah, that is a good pivot. Make a move. Get up out of there. And even sometimes with my children, I'll have a discernment about something, and I'll tell them, Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. It's all good because they're grown, they have to make their own decisions. But the pivot is also internal. So don't close your ears, don't ignore that gut feeling that you have, because it actually is your internal alarm clock. It is God speaking to you, telling you, make sure that you don't get involved with this business deal or this relationship or this job that you want to interview for. I was talking to somebody who interviewed, got a job, got in there, and was like, what is this all about? Didn't quite know. There were a couple of offers that she had, and she made a decision to go with a different offer. And then she later was like, I really wanted to work for that other one too. So she was able to make her way back. But that's not always the case. But anyways, so I'm just going to wrap up with this. If you have something in your spirit telling you to not do something, don't do it. It's as simple as that. That's your internal alarm clock. Make sure that you listen, because it could save you a lot of money. It can save you a lot of heartache, and it can save you a whole lot of time. So don't ignore that internal alarm clock. Just pivot. So that is all that I have to share. I wanted to be short and concise today. I'm trying to make them short and concise, but it's still information that I wanted to share. So again, my name is Keishan. I am your human resource. I help people see the possibilities in what they think is impossible. I am disrupting HR, disrupting leadership, and I hope that this disrupted you. And also, I didn't share this, but I'll share this real quick. I have a t-shirt, an apparel store. So if you get a chance to go to Bonfire, make sure that you check it out. Bonfire G-P-A. That's how you get to it. You may have seen a story that I have, or I posted it on my page. But I would love your support. My goal is to get 50 t-shirts sold. And the t-shirt that is being featured this week is from the Beatitudes. And it is the first Beatitude. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall inherit the kingdom of God. Matthew 5:3. So check it out. I want to see your support. I need your support. I want your support. Share it with somebody, because somebody else may want to walk around with a Beatitudes t-shirt. And they have hoodies, so you can just look through it. Take your pick. Not all colors, but check out the ones that you like. And again, support. Bonfire. Look at my page. I can't remember what it is, but it's a t-shirt. I'll post my website. Thanks, Ina. I will absolutely post it. And I'm really excited about this. This is something that God dropped in my spirit. Because I'm like, okay, Lord, what? And then he reminded me of what he shared with me a few years ago. And I acted sort of kind of, but didn't really act on it. So now I'm acting, I'm moving forward. To God be the glory, and your support is needed. I want to see people walking around with their Beatitudes t-shirts and hoodies and different things like that. So look for that. I'll include the link so that you can go out and support. But again, I'm excited. That was another one of my pivots, because sometimes you can stay in a place so long that you get stuck. I am no longer stuck. I am moving forward and am excited about it. So again, that is all that I have to share. Check me out tomorrow. I will be back. Because today is Tuesday. I'm losing my days, y'all. No, I'm not. It's all good. All right. Again, my name is Keishan. I am your human resource. I help people see the possibilities in what they think is impossible. I am disrupting HR. I am disrupting leadership. And I hope that this just disrupted you. Yes, your cousin did the pivot. All right. Take care. Until tomorrow. God bless.